are now plugged into Hooked on Songs with Bruce and Tony Kong.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Hooked on Sonics. I am one of your hosts, Bruce, and over there, Tone Capone, that handsome, powerful, and attractive man. And we've got some metal on two sides of the coin. We've got thrash metal legends Helloween and their album Walls of Jericho, and Kyuss. Welcome to Sky Valley. Some tasty. Um, how would best way you describe it? Stoner metal.
They're more of that desert sound, man. In the stoner doom world, man. They're more
Yeah,
of that desert sound is what they call that, I think.
yeah. So definitely some two different aspects of heavy metal, and looking forward to it. But before we get into it, Tony, how are you?
I am good, bud. How are you?
I feel fantastic.
Good, good,
Can you hear me
good.
okay?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me okay?
Beautifully.
Good, good, good,
How was your
good.
week?
Been a rough one starting off, but had to get up early. I didn't get much sleep last night. Went out to take care of my grandmother, and uh while my mom took my stepdad for one of his like chemo appointments, something to that degree.
Yeah.
Um, so everything looks good so far. Everybody's doing all right, and just trying to get through the last of these holidays, obviously, because like the thing for us is as soon as like June hits, kicking off from June all the way through the end of the year. There's
Yeah.
birthdays, there's holidays, it's just a banger. Our second half of the year is tough business, dude. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just trying to get through. I'm trying to see the other side of December.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'll be here before you know it.
it will be. It will be.
Well, cool. Well, what kind of music you been listening to help pass this crazy week by?
Well, what have I been listening to this week? I listened to the album you gave me today. We're going to discuss that later. Was checking out Mac Pike versus the Automaton album for like the seventh time. I really kind of dig that album. Um, and then I was listening to some Sleep today. Who else was I jamming? Oh, some Parliament earlier this week.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been pretty much it. I do want to mention something, man, but I don't know if I don't know what I want to do with this because I could give it to you as an album, but part of me is just like, I don't even want to give it to you as an album. I would just hope that you would respect the fact that I'm giving it to you, that you would go, okay, this cat said something about this. Maybe I should take a bit of an interest. I found an album that came out earlier this year
Yeah.
by total accident. Snoop, Ice Cube,
Yeah.
Too Short,
Yeah.
and E40.
Who?
E40, all huge West Coast guys. You're probably not familiar with E40. Either you were into him or you weren't. But, anyways, these are all prominent West Coast rappers. And they've come out with an album called Mount Westmore. And let me tell you, dude, this is a straight throwback to some of the greatest hip hop era of all time. It is fucking, I have yet to hear a bad tune on the album.
Okay.
I'm just like, holy shit. I have got to get my hands on this so I can listen to it in the car.
Yeah.
It's I think there's pretty much videos out there for almost everything on the album, and I'm not even going to front, dude. It's one of the best hip hop albums I've heard in decades. absolute decades, and it's definitely it definitely feels like it's playing a bit on a timepiece.
Okay. Cool. Can't wait to check it out.
Yeah, Mount Westmore, man, oh my goodness, and they all bring their A game, dude. The bars are just
That's cool to hear.
the bars are just insane.
That's cool to hear.
Yeah. Well, dude, that was our era of hip hop, man. Mid
Yeah, oh,
'90s.
for sure.
You know, we were all in high school about the time Snoop dropped that, Dre dropped that, Easy E dropped that. All that West Coast stuff was really popping off at that time.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, you got to check these. I think you're good. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. I don't know how anybody couldn't be. Me and Omar sat there and listened to it the other night. It was like, every one of them's a banger. These guys came in and killed it. It's a banger of an album. Like, it was good. It was good. That's for sure.
Sweet.
So what's up? What'd you listen to?
Well, let me tell you. So obviously, I listened to that Kyuss album. Did a little more deep dive on Kyuss too. So that was pretty cool. Went to another really cool record store that I think you would really enjoy. The owner there, he really he's a metal guy. He's a total metal guy. So me and him was talking about Helloween. He's a huge Helloween fan, and he was going through, oh yeah, this singer did this and this. I was like, okay. But he's got a really cool selection of some cool shit you would absolutely love. So while I was at Basement Records there in Knoxville, Tennessee, picked up the Helloween.
Now, does that have all 14 tracks on it?
No, and I was going to talk about that. So this was the actual album on the CD release that came out with all the extra. I think there was like 5 or 6 extra songs on that when it was released on CD.
Okay.
So, and yeah, we'll talk about it. And then I dusted off this bad boy right here, the legendary Shack Shakers, Cockadoodle Doo.
Nice.
Phenomenal album. Just seen these guys here a few months ago. Fantastic. And of course, me being the huge Stones fan that I am, brand new Rolling Stones came out, Hackney Diamonds. It's probably the best Stones album since Voodoo Lounge.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And that came out in 94. So yeah, it's been a minute.
Okay.
That's what I've been listening to.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
And I am drinking beautiful Sailor Jerry spiced rum and Coke.
Sailor Jerry, spiced rum and Coke. I can't drink that stuff. It is not a rum that does well with me.
No.
And I love rum, and I can dig spiced rum, but that doesn't do well with me. I'm a
Jerry's
Bacardi
is,
guy.
yeah. Yeah. Uh, Sailor Jerry's is my number 3. Captain's number 1, Kraken number 2, Sailor Jerry number 3.
But in spiced rums, right?
Yeah, spice rums. Yep.
Okay.
Have you tried
the Bacardi spiced?
Yep.
Really? It doesn't even rank up in your top 3.
No.
Those are fighting words, dude.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Ugh.
But yeah, Sailor Jerry, beautiful blend. I really enjoy it. 94 proof. And it goes with a lot of stuff. So when I'm feeling down the dumps and I need a little pick me up, I go to my favorite sailor, Sailor Jerry.
I'm done with you.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. And we're not even getting paid for it.
I know it. Not yet.
That's great. That's great.
You got something good in that?
Yeah, it's called water.
Oh, brought to you by water.
Brought to you by the Everglades of the Ohio River.
Oof. Oof.
All right.
You'll be
You want to
dead
know what
about
I'm
that.
drinking tonight?
What are you drinking?
Booyah. So this is a
One of those Mountain Dews?
hard Mountain Dew live wire. I like
Mhm.
these things. There's a couple of flavors that I dig. I am a Mountain Dew fan. And when they came out with zero stuff, man, it was just like the best thing because being diabetic, you don't want to drink a bunch of that sugary stuff. And I had never really gotten the hype behind Code Red Mountain Dew
Yep.
because by the time I became diabetic, it was a thing. You know what I mean? And I never really hit on it because if you look at the sugar content on that bad boy, that's a tough one. But
Yeah.
cherry flavored Mountain Dew was good. When I was just before I became diabetic, I learned about the live wire, but not this hard drink. These have only been out for a couple of years, but the live wire was my favorite. When I was drinking regular Mountain Dew and that I'd bounce back and forth between the two. But I I like these. They're not bad, man. What are you giving that what are you giving that Sailor Jerry rum?
I'm giving it a 4.5.
4.5
Yeah.
on the spiced rum scale.
Yep.
All right, all right. Well, I have yet to try one of these.
Mhm.
This is a new thing for me. You guys
Wow.
catch me review it here right now. I believe this is 5% alcohol and zero sugar. Orange flavored, hard wired, hard Mountain Dew live wire.
Okay.
Sons of bitches. Cool can.
Who designed it? Ed Hardy?
Looks like it, but I can tell you this.
Hmm.
It's pretty fucking good.
There you
I don't know how many of these I drink, but
go.
I think one for the show. I think one for the show's good. So got to watch all that caffeine.
Yeah.
It's like a speedball in a can. You know,
Oh,
upper and downer in a can.
see it level you out
Yeah, yeah. So what am I going to give this? Let me get another sip.
for posterity's sake.
For what it is, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Just
Okay.
because, just because I do know that if I was a normal human being drinking like a 6 pack of these, you're probably going to get pretty good buzz. But the alcohol, caffeine, orange ratio,
Yeah.
probably going to be a bad case of fucking heartburn.
Okay.
There you have it.
There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I believe it is now time for Tony and Bruce
The news.
to do some news.
Stand by for news.
Hey, Bruce,
Yes.
you got some snoo in your hair.
Who?
Some snoo in your hair.
Snoo.
Yeah, you got some snoo right there in your hair.
What the hell are you talking about?
Snoo.
Snoo who?
No, you got snoo in your hair, dude.
The hell are you talking about?
You don't see the snoo in your hair on the camera?
No.
Do you
Talking
even
about
know?
gray hair?
No, snoo.
The fuck are you? Get out of here. I'm not doing this with you.
You you should have been saying,
But
what's new? I don't know, brother. What's new with you?
oh god.
Yeah, on right over your head. Yeah.
Not everyone.
What the fuck? All
Okay.
right. There's your shameless joke for today.
Thank you.
So just real quick from our friends over at Blabbermouth, taking a look here real quick. Hart announces a Seattle concert. Uh, Lynch Mob announces a farewell tour. So if you've never seen Lynch Mob with George Lynch and the crew there, go see him. This is going to be your last opportunity, obviously. King Diamond is planning a 2024 tour. And Lars is talking of an M72 tour. And I think Kitty's got something in the works they're looking to release to everybody. Uh,
Has Kitty put anything out in the last 15 years?
who?
Kitty.
I don't think so, man. But there's this resurgence of appreciation for that era of metal, and man, just
Some of their stuff.
yeah. The collection of Dusty Hill of ZZ Top is headed to the auction block. So you want a piece of that history? You got that kind of cash? Make it happen, Captain. There it is for you. Um,
I need some of
uh,
that Skinner cash.
yeah. Greta Van Fleet announces a spring 2024 U.S. tour.
Ooh.
So maybe want to check that out. Green Day announces a Saviors album tour, and or a Saviors album supposed to be coming. Um, and I don't see much more other than that. I want to thank our good friends over there at Blabbermouth for that information. I think Bruce, you had a little piece of information.
Absolutely. So, we are recording on October 14th, or I'm sorry, 24th. Wow, went back in time.
Mm.
24th. See, happy birthday to Rolling Stones original bass player Bill Wyman. He was born in 1936. Let's see, some pretty notable album releases. 1970, Santana released their first number one album, Abaraxis. Phenomenal album. Phenomenal album. Really interesting cover there. Don McLean. Do you know who that is?
I would pronounce it Don McLean, but go ahead.
Yeah, I would say Don McLean. He released American Pie, the album in 1971, brought him out of folk music obscurity and to, a timeless classic. And then in the year 2000, in the year 2000, Linkin Park released their debut album, Hybrid Theory, featuring In the End, because it doesn't really matter. And that is your history for today.
And that is the news.
Did you like Linkin Park?
Man, my kids liked them. I didn't dig them. I knew a lot of people that did dig them, and I appreciate that they were good artists. I have nothing against them. I just didn't get into them. There was a lot of that new metal stuff that I really kind of didn't get into, and I missed the bus on a lot of that. So
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't think they were terrible. They were fine.
oh no, I didn't think they were terrible or nothing like that at all. I just you got to remember, man, that was radio stuff, right? I wasn't listening to the radio. I ain't listen. I don't listen to radio. I just don't, man. I don't. Radio isn't a source of music for me.
Okay. Fine, be that way.
No, dude.
Susie, you just made Susie Wad cry.
I have a philosophy about that,
Okay.
because the difference between what you're just saying now is like
Mhm.
back when Susie Wad was our DJ and shit was real. She was on 92 XFM, and it wasn't uncommon on a Friday late night or Saturday late night to hear some live concert or a whole album get spun in anticipation of buying the album. There wasn't all this FCC coming down and cracking down, and if you wanted to hear, if the new album was coming out this week and they decided they were going to go ahead and spin it at midnight, you could sit and listen to it at midnight and hear whether or not you wanted to purchase the album, and times like that. It ain't like that
Yeah.
no more. Our
Well,
our radio is government controlled. you know
well, it's not necessarily government control, absolutely has a part of it, but it's all this corporate stuff. These got these big conglomerates that own, Clear Channel owns most of the fucking radio stations, or iHeartRadio owns the other bit of it. And it's all homogenized, and the DJs don't have any say about what they play. Like literally, the playlist gets downloaded from their corporate office, and you have to play this X amount of times an
a day.
hour.
Yep.
It's horrible.
That is exactly why I do not listen to the radio.
Yep.
When the radio went to that format, we have a list that we're going to play by today, and I heard the same song 15 times in a day. Hard pass.
Yep.
Sorry. Hard
Now there
pass.
are some, especially like QFM 96. They're in Columbus. They still have some special programs where they'll play some of this obscure stuff, and the DJs have say about what's being played. So, you know, shout out to them for still hanging on to that. I think it's super important, for anyone, but especially as old timers.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's like I was sitting there talking to the kids the other day. I was telling them, I said, let me ask you something. Who are your legacy artists? Who are your legacy artists?
Yeah.
Who's going to be around in 20 years still touring?
Well, okay. Their legacy artist is probably fucking Linkin Park. That was 23 years ago.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Korn is the legacy artist now.
Uh, they're their legacy for us. I mean, they were during our high school years. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, they
Well,
could
not
still
Korn.
be around. Korn was out when we were in high school. When did their first album drop?
98, 99.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Tristan was born by then, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, but no, dude, I don't listen to the radio. It's not something that I enjoy. Every once in a while, I get in the car and Kate's got country music radio on, and I just won't change it or something,
Yeah.
just to kind of see what's going on there until I get sick of it. I'm like, boom, all right, we're
Don't
gonna
take
do it.
much.
Yeah. So nothing against country music. Just there's I don't openly listen to jazz either. You know what I'm saying? So we have our
Oh, that's
preferences.
coming up.
Oh, I'm not opposed to it.
I love me some jazz.
I'm not opposed to it. I'm not. I'm not opposed to any
And I
music.
was not offended.
No, good. For I knew I had to rise above it all, or drowned in my own shit. Shit. I saw that album the other day, and I'm like, man, eventually I'm going to own a record player. I should pick this fucking album
Quit
up.
dragging your damn ass.
It's a lot of money, dude.
It's not that much money.
It is.
How much money have you spent on vinyl right now?
Total?
Yeah. Get a record player. Quit fucking around.
Dude, I want to get a good one. Yeah,
I told you a good one. I told you what to do.
I don't know how to set them up and all that, set the arm counterweights
Plug.
and everything.
Plug. That's it. It's already balanced. It's already good. Plug. That's it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Get off me. In due time. In due time.
Mhm.
I got other things I'm worried about at the moment.
Yeah, I'll just give you one of mine. I'm tired of fucking around with you.
Dude, I have got to find my drummer an electronic kit.
You already had one.
No, this won't handle the recording.
Oh,
He plays double kick, and this bass thing doesn't supply the double kick.
okay.
And Dylan, this isn't a kit that the kit that I have in the garage isn't going to be reactory enough for Dylan. You know what I mean? Especially in the double kick area. We have cymbal stops in our songs where
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? So I need a kit that's capable of doing that, because we're getting songs done and I'd like to get them recorded and kind of start sharing them with the world. But that's all part of the music process, along with that other shit that you and I talked about earlier.
Yes, sir.
But I think it's time. What do you think? You think it's time? We got to get into the time, man. Album review time. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. So this week, I'll go first.
Okay.
And I had Helloween's Walls of Jericho. I definitely checked this album out today. I listened to the first half of it on the way out to Lancaster, and it was exactly as I anticipated. Exactly as I anticipated. I got nothing unexpected on this album, considering I had heard Helloween before. I may even heard this album before. With that being said, let me pre- preface this by saying, as a band, they have all the right components. Great drum work, great bass work, great guitar work, insane guitar work, and the vocals. They're something else. They're something else. Um, Nothing against the singer. It's just not my favorite vocal style to hear.
Yeah.
I completely understand how it goes with this music. I completely, I do completely agree with the stance on this music. Some of the lower parts, lower register parts, really sounded good. But the musicianship on this album is, man, it's. Let me just read a couple of things here real quick. Starlight was the opening track. And I
Yeah.
think this album really kind of dealt with a lot of drug subject matter, which I thought was pretty cool, man. This could have been at the beginning of a Dare ad, and it would have fit the time because
Yeah.
it was some in your face, do drugs, you're going to die, idiot. You know what I'm saying? Um, I couldn't find on the album the actual title track, Walls of Jericho. I think it was broken up or like an intro piece to a song called Ride the Sky. At the end of the day, if it is
Yeah.
that whole composition, I I put a star beside Ride the Sky because I thought this was a standout track. Probably my favorite track on the album, to be honest with you. Phantoms of
Yeah.
Death was another standout track for me. Very cool. The solo was insane on that album, on that track, and
Oh,
the riff was really, really, really good. Um, Gorgar, um, that is a pretty cool track. If you had to think of something like a heavy metal version of a Pinball Wizard story, almost that was because that's what it was about, was the pinball game, I think it was.
yeah. Yeah.
Pretty fucking cool, man. Very, very, very fucking cool, especially coming from a gamer perspective, someone who enjoys playing video games and pinball and stuff like that. uh the drum intro into heavy metal is the law. um Man, that rivals so many great intros that are out there of that time frame. Big drums, big guitars. This album had it. What I call this album thrash metal, I can't say that I can.
Really?
I no, because I got to looking at the Wikipedia for this, and I'm going to have to agree with Wikipedia on this. And this is one of the things that sucks about the whole metal as a genre, is all these subgenres you got to name shit after, right? Or it's
Yeah.
affiliated with, right? But I think they were a little more on the money over at Wikipedia by calling them power and speed metal.
Yeah.
Thrash has a little more rougher vocal, not so clean of a
Okay.
vocal. You got a little more rasp in the throat, I think, in most thrash, right? Because you think about Megadeth, you think about Metallica, you think about Exodus and Testament. There's a little more, why they do some of the high end stuff. There's a lot more rasp or grunginess in the throat on a lot of thrash stuff. So I would definitely agree with them there. Other things I wrote about the album, great intros. Overall band was great. Um, love the guitar work. And this is something I really want to speak out about. This album has so many elements of metal that you're familiar with, especially coming to the guitar work, the drum work. You've got hints of Metallica in here for sure. All that gallop picking and stuff, for sure. There's hints of Metallica in here. But the best way that I would describe this band, and it's no disrespect to any of the bands, including the band that I'm reviewing, is this was almost like a Judas Priest slash Iron Maiden feel, because the guitar work was
Vocally, yeah.
very reminiscent of Iron Maiden style work, and vocally, I think this guy has, the chops, maybe not quite the chops of Rob Halford, but the dude's got chops, you know what I'm saying? So he's really got it under control. My issue with this album, major issue with this album is it's repetitive. It's absolutely repetitive. The
In
riffs
what
are
way?
just the constant gallop picking and blast beat style sound stuff, man. It's just it's a very we've started this pace. This is the pace through the album,
Mhm.
and it's just like there's no dynamic for it to me. You know what I'm saying? And there are small, there's some small dynamics and stuff like with Phantoms of something or other, Phantoms of Death, and there was another one on there that was had
How many tiers? I think.
probably how many cheers, yeah. So, but in general, the album is good. The musicianship here is really good. If power speed metal is your thing, this is your album. This is if power speed metal is your thing, this album's probably in your top 5, because this is respectively a very good album.
Mhm.
But vocally for me, and because of the repetitiveness of the sound, just the constant all the way through the album, um, it leaves me in a position that I'm like at odds. Do I want to check out more of them? Because I really don't care for the vocal sounds. And I understand that they've changed vocalists, but do I want to check out more of them? Do I care to check out more of them? Am I in the right headspace to listen to this stuff right now? Because I really kind of don't. I don't really enjoy it, man. Like and it's not because of the music. It's because there's the vocals are really good, and then all of a sudden they stray off and do that high pitch stuff, man. It's just like it doesn't do it for me, dude. It just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
You know, um, that guy could probably talk on the album, and I would give this album a better review. And it's no disrespect to the guy's singing ability. It's just I like a lower tone register, something with a little
Yeah.
rasp in it, and he does that in
And that
certain
was the
parts of the
thing.
song. Yeah,
Yeah, that was kind of the style back then.
yeah.
Mid '80s for
Oh,
this style of metal.
but see, that's the other thing I want to mention. For this style of metal, it's very easy to see how, when listening to this style of metal, that I passed on this
Hmm.
because there was just so much of it.
Yeah,
You know, like you could only consume so much, and it's not that
I
I would say
agree.
that these guys bad, but this kind of vocal style has not always sat well with me. I want to like guys like this. Let me make that very clear. I really fucking want to. I want to like King Diamond. The musicianship there is really good, and his vocal stuff is really cool. But he goes on that. I can't do it. I don't listen to a lot of Judas Priest because of it.
Hmm.
You know, it's just it's not for me.
Yeah,
It's not, and it's absolutely like, and don't get me wrong, there are songs I love by each of those bands. You know, that song on the album, Walls of Jericho, that goes into what? What's it go into?
what?
Huh?
What's your question?
Walls of Jericho, then it goes into what?
Ride the Sky.
Ride the Sky. Killer fucking tune.
Yeah,
Absolutely killer fucking tune. But it's just not enough to bring me back to probably want to listen to these guys, because when you handed me them, I scanned my memory banks real quick, and I remember I know I've heard something from these guys, and I want to say it was Keeper of the Seven Keys, and I didn't care for it, man. Like I even bought the album and never listened to it again, because
wow.
when you were young, you didn't hear, you look at the album cover, it looks
Yeah,
cool. oh yeah, Helloween, that sounds really cool. And you learn. That's how we lived and learned back in the day. We didn't have the internet and YouTube to look up the song and go, hey, well, I like that. I think I'm going to go buy it. We didn't have that then. So yeah, it was actually an album, probably a cassette I purchased, and Keeper of the Seven Keys. And I may have pawned that off on somebody because I really didn't fucking care for it.
Hmm.
So with that being said, I'm going to give this album, and this is a very generous thing, and this is a hard hit because I could only get into 2 or 3 songs on the album total. Out of like 14 songs, dude.
Yep.
That's tough. That's a tough listen. 2 or 3 songs on a 14 song album, that's a tough listen. But because of the musicianship, because all the players are doing their job very, 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 very well. And I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
But I have to account the great musicianship that's here. So I'm going to give it a 7.75.
Okay. That's a good review.
It's not enough for me to say I want to check out more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
7.75, man.
Yep. All right. This album was released November 18th of 1985. There was no real hits on this thing. It did not chart in the United States. It charted number 90 in Japan, I think it was. Um, these guys are known as some of the godfathers of this style of music. I'll agree with you that you have to be in a certain mood for this style, mainly because of the vocals. Um, it's dated. It's dated for sure. Um, I stumbled on this album. I just went down a rabbit hole, and they came up in my in my queue on Spotify. I was like, okay, I'll listen to this, and I was like, holy shit! This reminded me a lot of Metallica's "Kill 'Em All" from a music perspective, not vocally.
Right.
Man, I really like this. And the more I kept going through this album, I was like, man, I really like this fucking speed metal shit. I
How much
forgot how much I like it.
how much Maiden have you listened to?
My the first cassette that I ever owned was Live After Death,
Did you own
and I
any
was
other Maiden?
12 years old.
Did you own any other Maiden?
I owned. I think I owned the Trooper.
That's a song.
Yeah.
The
What
album
was
that had the Trooper on it.
what was it?
That might have been Peace of Mind.
I think
Maybe
you're right.
maybe Peace of Mind.
Yeah.
So you don't have a big frame of reference for Maiden.
No. And again, I gotta be in a certain mood for Maiden. I gotta be in a certain mood for Maiden.
You may have just changed my album pick for you tonight, dude.
You're not giving me an album pick tonight.
Oh, but I am. What are you talking about? I don't care who's on the show next week. We're still doing a review.
No, we ain't.
Listen, we're not getting into a 3 hour special on dead rock
It's
stars.
well, that's good because it's not going to be a 3 hour episode.
Good. But we are going to review an album next week.
We're not.
Why are we not?
Because we ain't.
Oh no. You don't get to pull the plug just because you decided we were going to do some
It's a
show.
whole special. What are we doing?
We're reviewing an album.
No.
Bruce, I'm telling you what, dude. At the end of this show, we're handing off albums. I don't care what the other folks on the show that are going to be on get to do, but we're giving the people what they want. This is our purpose in life.
Our purpose. No. I really enjoyed this album. I'm right there with you. I'm giving it an 8. I didn't find anything where I turned it off. But I can see I'm not going to listen to this thing every day. I was definitely interested in more stuff that they were doing. And I'll continue to check out more of their stuff, but yeah, I'll give a solid 8. Beautiful. I really enjoyed this album for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Now, you gave me Kyuss, Welcome to Sky Valley. And I got to plead ignorance on Kyuss. I heard of them. I never heard them at all, period. So I was pleasantly surprised that um, uh, Josh Home from Queens of the Stone Age was actually the guitar player in this. And then once I figured that out, I'm like, oh, I can hear it. I can hear I can hear the influence there for sure. Let's see. This Welcome to the Sky Valley was released June 28th, 1994. Um, pretty cool stoner rock album. This I was pleasantly surprised when I heard this, and because I had such a bad taste in my mouth from that Play God. It's like, well, I didn't know, and this is a groovy fucking album. Again, I know we've talked about this in previous episodes, but the '90s was such a great period for bass playing and fucking drumming. Just groove and fun in the pocket. And this album is no exception to that. In the original liner notes to this album, they say to listen to this album uninterrupted. And they originally released this album as like, I think there's like 10 tracks on this thing or something like that. And they released it as three tracks on a CD. So you had to stick around for the whole thing. Um, this this is going to sound bad, but I don't mean it to be. There's not a whole lot of standout tracks on this album because they all blend together so well. Like these songs were meant to be played all together. Now, there are some standout tracks for me. One of them being 100 Degrees. I really love that love that song. And that goes right into Space Cadet. Space Cadet was really cool. Gardenia was a fantastic opening song.
Yeah.
Conan Troutman, fucking cool. What a fucking killer riff on that. Demon Cleaner, I think was on Guitar Hero, if I remember right. One of those Guitar Heroes. I kind of remember playing that, and I'm like, okay, that's a cool song. It's not a standout, but man, it fits on this album.
Yeah.
Really, this album actually grew on me. So I listened to this album, I don't know, 4 or 5 times. First couple times, I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's cool. Okay, pick that out, pick that out. But I wasn't listening to it all in a row. I would pick out a song or two,
Right.
whatever. Okay, I got to do this, got to do this. And then when I finally sat down and listened to the whole thing, I was like, okay, that makes sense. This is a groovy stoner kind of Sabbathy kind of Monster Magnet type feel to it.
Yeah. Very desert feel, man. That's
kind of
that's
Melvin's.
yeah.
Melvin's with I would say better vocals, different vocals.
Yeah. They're
Different
good, dude.
vocals. Yeah.
So Todd turned me on to Kyuss back in the day, and Scott and I would bring him up in the discussion all the time. And that's if you can remember when I told you I've given you this album because these guys are always in the discussion, especially in the musical circles that I travel.
Yeah.
These guys always come up in the conversation. It's just like, it's hard not to, especially when you hear their albums. It's like, fuck, dude, like these guys were fucking good. You know, another band I kind of almost wanted to give you one of their albums, man, but I think that you should honestly explore it for yourself. And it's not quite this, I would say, but Acid Bath, man. They were that New Orleans sludge sound, man, that just it was nasty, very very nasty. And Dax and um uh Sammy Duet, uh man, they really had something special with Acid Bath, and we only got two albums out of. I think maybe we only got maybe two or three albums out of Kyuss, if that.
I think
Um,
there's total four. I think
yeah,
one of them was the greatest hits.
and what and I don't know. See, that's kind of like why I want to bring this up is like I was listening to an album today on the way home, and I forgot to mention it. Excuse me, but I don't know if I've given you the album, and I thought this would be a really good album to bounce off the album that he gave me, so I could say this is where metal was in the last few years, and this was probably the biggest thing coming out of metal in the last few years. And it was have I given you a Power Trip album?
Power Trip?
Yeah.
I
If
don't
I'd
think.
if I'd give you an album, it would be Nightmare Logic is what it would have been.
Okay.
It's got the Executioner's tax on it, and just the album is a solid album. And
Cool.
unfortunately, the world lost that singer a year or two. I want to say two, maybe 3 years ago tops.
Okay.
Riley Gales, due to I think that maybe some substance abuse or something like that. But these guys were huge, dude. They were the next major thing in American metal, man. These guys. I believe they're from America, but I'll tell you what, dude. They were brutal.
Yeah.
They were really really good. And if you heard them, you go, yeah, I can get with that. I think you dig them.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I give this album, I'm going to give this thing an 8.5.
Caius, 8.5, huh?
Yep. I'm going to give it an 8.5. I really enjoyed this album. It's not, I can't give it a 10, but it's really good. It's really good. There's no real skips because, again, I think you need the whole package to really appreciate the whole album.
Yeah.
So yeah, 8.5. I really like this, and I started listening to some other stuff that they did. I think their last studio album, I forget the name of it off the top of my head. I'm like, yeah, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool stuff.
So if you dig that kind of stuff, he may. Uh, you said Josh Holm.
Yep.
He may or may not have been involved in this new project that just recently did a couple albums with Brant Bjork, um, who was from Queens of the Stone Age, I think, as well. Or you'd have to look into who all was involved in the band. But
Sure.
the name of the band's called Stoner, Stoner, and above the O, it's got the two little dots, right? So they had an album called Totally, and then they got a second album. I can't remember what it is, but if you listen to it, man, it's kind of fucking groovy, man.
Mhm.
It kind of reminds me of like some Queens of the Stone Age. What is it? The Presidents of the United States
Lump?
stuff. Yeah, stuff like that, man. Who did Peaches?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Presidents of the United States of America.
just there's just that kind of vibe and feel to it, and it works. Like it's fuzzed out. It's cool. It's just like, it's just mellow. Yeah, check out the band called Stoner, and the
Okay.
best way to find them is look up their album Totally.
Okay.
That's the name of the album. I think that's the name of the first album.
Cool.
Yeah. So let's talk about next week since we got to wrap this up.
All right.
What is the purpose of not having an album review? I know we're going to have a couple people on.
Yep.
I still reserve the right to bring somebody in
Yep.
if I can find somebody that wants to get involved. If you're watching the show and you're in a band and you want to be involved, feel free to reach out to me directly through the Book of Faces or through any of the messaging content that we use, and we'll tell you how to get in on the show. We're going to discuss putting together a super group of deceased rock stars.
Yep. It's Dead Rockstar Draft. You pick your band that you want to see out of dead folk.
I wouldn't just put it like that. That sounds so brutal. Just deceased, man. They're legends. Come on,
They're
dude.
dead.
Dude,
Too
have a
soon?
heart. Have a heart.
Have a heart.
So you want to hear one of the ideas that I was throwing around today?
What's that?
Dead Rockstar Group. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Eddie Van Halen on guitar.
Okay.
Phil Lynott on bass.
Okay.
John Bonham on drums.
Yeah.
And Tupac on vocals.
Fucking Christ. I'm revoking your medical card. Oh, fucking Christ.
Hey,
Oh,
that's your laugh for this evening.
that was beautiful. Now I'm trying to picture that in my ear.
And you're never going to be able to get it out once you hear it. No,
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, we're deceased rock star or dead rock star draft, however you want to coin it, next week. Bruce and I've got a couple people that may drop in on us and go over that. It's also our Halloween special.
Yes.
So we want to say thank you guys for sticking with us and tuning in. Please tell your friends about us. Likes, comment, subscribe, hit that button, bell notification down there. And you know, we want to hear from you. We definitely want to hear from you. What do you guys think about the show? I know sometimes we get to yammering on and talking and things kind of drag on a
Not
little bit,
me.
but
Him.
that is me. It is me. I am that guy. No, but with that being said,
Goddamn
we appreciate you guys tuning in. We appreciate all your your questions. We'd love to answer them if we can, and we look forward to meeting you guys out there when we're out at shows. Thanks again for just sticking around. We
Yeah.
do know that some of you are watching, and we appreciate it. So I'm watching you too,
All of
buddy.
you. We're watching you.
Yes. So with that being said, Bruce says we're not going to do any album reviews next week.
I tell you what, you can give each other albums, and then we'll see if we do them next week. If not, we already have them up for the week after.
Okay. All right.
I already know what I'm going to give you.
What's your album?
Huh?
What's your album?
So, in honor of me just figuring out that Josh Holm was part of Kyuss, I'm going to give you another side project that he did with John Paul Jones, the bass player from Led Zeppelin, and Dave Grohl. And that album is Them Crooked Vultures.
I remember this popping off back then.
Yeah.
I do remember something about that. And is that the title of the album?
Yes.
Self-titled?
Yep. That is correct.
All right. I've had a hard time coming up with what I want to give you.
Yeah.
I've been kind of bouncing off of the stuff that you've been giving me and saying, "Here, you giving me this, let me give you that." But I think what I really want to do is I have so many I can give you right now just because of stuff I've heard here recently. And I really don't know what I want to give you, man. I discussed it earlier in the show. I think you need to hear it. I think you need to hear it right away.
Mm.
The Mount Westmore album. I think you need to hear it.
Okay.
I think you need to hear it. I remember just me and Omar were just going banger after banger. Like this man, they really went in hard on this album. And dude, I kind of expect big things to happen with Snoop being out West Coast and then having uh owning Death Row Records now. You know he's got Death Row Records again, right?
Cool. Shook still in prison.
I believe Suge still is in prison. Mount Westmore is the name of that album.
Yeah.
Mount Westmore. Um,
What did I
and
say?
Mr. got sent over as Mr. Westmore. But anyways, please enjoy the album. I know that we just kind of I got one good run through it, and I thought, wow, really good job, guys. I'm gonna buy that because I want to be able to have that to listen to on my hip hop and rap
Yeah.
USB stick that I keep in the car. So,
Cool.
all right, man. With that being said, Bruce, thank you so much for attending tonight's evening event. We love and appreciate every one of you. And
Well, except for that one guy.
anything else you say?
Uh-huh.
You got anything else for us?
No. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. And we will see you next week.
Cheers.
Salute.